This is our hot topic debate, or hot topic, I should say, on teacher shortage and retention. My name is Brett Strommen,
And I am Brandon Gonsalves.
and this is our presentation. So, we utilize six guiding questions when researching. The first being, what causes teacher shortage? Second, what are the effects of a shortage of teachers? Third, how is teacher shortage being solved? Fourth, what are the positive aspects of teacher shortages? Five, what lasting negative aspects are there? And finally, six, how are schools working on retaining and keeping teachers?
So, our very first guiding question, what causes teacher shortages, is driven by two major aspects: the low pay involved and the harsh working conditions. So, as we all know, teachers do not get paid as well as many other professions. They do not get paid as well as they should. Um, Many salary caps are built on public education teachers just being built to retain the teachers and not actually inspire them to move any farther ahead with their pay grade. You'll see the stat that I put there: 96% of the public school districts account for 100% of the use of the traditional salary schedule. So that means that the almost every single public school out there in our California school system attribute to a pay schedule that does not benefit them or help them in any way when they do better than they are currently doing. Depending on how well they do or how terrible they do, they're on the same base salary. So that is a major cause for teacher shortages, is not getting paid the right amount depending on how well they do. Another cause for teacher shortages is the working conditions. New teachers typically work in the least desirable schools with the least desirable students in the least desirable rooms and in the least desirable teaching assignment. So, what that's saying is basically all these new teachers, when they come in, are getting thrown the hardest students and the hardest classrooms right away. Getting thrown into the mix right away with these terrible conditions is making them not want to stick around and not work within their own district any longer. So those are the major two causes for teacher shortages.
Our next guiding question was, what are the effects of a shortage of teachers? First is a higher student to teacher ratio. And when you get more students compared to more teachers, you get less attention devoted to individual students. So when students have individual IEPs and different things that they need, a teacher is not able to devote the necessary amount of time to all the students. And that also gives us less staff coverage for help at school events. Many school events that we have, they always tend to obviously shove the novice teachers into chaperoning all the dances and then all the little things that they would do to try to earn money and all the different events that the school puts on that they need chaperones. They need all the teachers and all the staff coverage for. When there's less staff, there is less coverage. So this, what does that really have an effect on? It has an effect on minority students. And I quote, minority students in the nation's schools increasingly lack minority adult role models, contact with teachers who understand their racial and cultural background, and often qualified teachers of any background, because white teachers eschew schools with large percentages of minorities. This saying that, many of the teachers in the school districts are not able to attach themselves or come off to these minority students in a positive way, and they don't feel like they can grow beyond their circumstances. And because we're not getting enough teachers, enough support for them, they're not able to grow and not able to learn and be educated. And so having more qualified teachers will help ensure that these minority students are well represented.
So, how is teacher shortage being solved? Uh, Two major things that are happening to help the teacher shortage that is currently affecting our school and educational system is bringing classics out of retirement, or bringing the retired teachers back to help teach again, and then rushed teacher training, which I'll get into in a second. So the first one is bringing back good teachers. What is happening is many teachers that have retired in the past couple of years are being brought back um, on a basis of them not working for more than just a year or two. Basically, what's happening is that these retired teachers are coming back and meeting these immediate hiring needs. They're filling in for a year or so until another full term teacher can come and be hired in. One good thing is that the employees pay into the retirement system already, so the revenue that comes out of that is pretty neutral all around. And then the state can also use a deferred retirement option program to help keep these experienced teachers around for an even longer amount of time that they're already serving. So bringing these teachers back that already know the system, they already know what they're doing, is a great way to help with the teacher shortage. In addition, there are many quick teacher prep courses that help ready teachers in a very quick amount of time. This can happen in just a 1 year post bachelorette level. It can help happen in a quick 2 year program, 3 year program, something like we see in Laverne, where it's just a couple years and we get our credential and we move on from there. So these quick teacher prep courses are helping the teacher shortage overall.
So the next guiding question would be, what are the positive aspects of teacher shortages? Yes, there actually are some positive aspects. First being more jobs for incoming teachers. Yay! All us Laverne guys here. Also, more competitive pay to get teachers hired, meaning that they're going to pay you more because they need you. And it encourages districts to provide more support and benefits for teachers. So, first off, service scholarships or loan forgiveness programs that cover the cost of tuition and living expenses to teachers candidates who commit to teach in high need fields and locations are a big thing now. So, these would be like Title I schools that have a high minority, socioeconomic deficient background, um, just schools that really need the help and have some financial backing in order to provide it. And if you go and teach at these schools, you'll be rewarded handsomely in forgiving your student loans, which most of us probably have a pretty good amount of. Also, a high retention teacher preparation programs completed in 1 year at the post baccalaureate level, such as teacher residency models. So this is like Laverne basically. Laverne offers a 1 year credential program as well as a master's put together, and they also offer programs such as internships, basically, where you can begin in your own classroom while still completing your credential, getting paid, and that's a very popular program. Because of the teacher shortage, there are more districts that are more willing to hire teachers as an intern as opposed to having their credential already. And then eliminates barriers to reentry for retired teachers in short fields or postpone their exit. So this is like what Brandon was speaking on earlier, bringing back retired teachers to work when maybe they in the past they wouldn't be able to, or it creates an area where you can postpone their exit and keep more of those high quality retired teachers in the marketplace, which is benefiting the students handsomely.
So, what are the lasting negative effects of teacher shortages? Some lasting negative effects involve the rising costs that are involved for the districts, the teachers that are hired with a lack of education, and the teachers that are hired are in the profession for shorter periods of time overall. So, some lasting negative effects, one of the major ones is the costs that are involved. To replace teachers within the educational system, it does cost a good amount of money. So, bringing the teacher in, getting them trained, getting them ready, buying all the supplies, getting their classroom ready, all costs a good amount of money. It can cost anywhere between $4,000 to $18,000 per teacher, depending on the district. These large price tags, including these 18,000 for large urban districts, are very damaging for the high poverty districts. The school districts that don't have that kind of money to pay to replace teachers and bring in new teachers and train them and get them all ready to go. They just don't have the money to bring in these teachers. So that is one of the downfalls, and that is one of the reasons why one of the things that prevents them from bringing in teachers. Uh, our interview was with a local in Santa Clarita, a local third grade teacher by the name of Jenny Young. She teaches at Placerita Elementary School, and her direct quote was, "The teacher shortage has affected us greatly. We have seen many students come through our system without a strong, consistent teacher as their leader, and it's been rough. Overall, the shortage has made our students feel a lot more lost than normal, but we made it work. So it's a good thing they made it work, but the negative aspect involved with the teacher shortage has been the consistent leader that the students have needed. They haven't seen a teacher stand in place and been there for them their entire um, educational career so far this semester. There's been long term subs, and there's been various other teachers that have come and stepped in while the teacher has been getting replaced. So, not having a consistent teacher and a consistent leader has been really rough for the students since their schedule is consistently changing. That is one of the major negative aspects involved with a teacher shortage.
And the next question is, how are schools working on retaining and keeping teachers? So they're doing stuff like more incentives for teachers, which is like benefits, higher salary, increased professional development for teachers staying around, and teacher residency programs. So one study in Texas showed that there was a moderate positive correlation for teachers that were paid more, and they were more likely to stay. So looking at the graph, you could see through the years when they looked at turnover ratio compared to salary, as the salary increased, the turnover ratio amongst all these districts steadily went down. Obviously, it's not a large drop, so just a moderate positive. So there's still some other aspects working, but overall, if you pay teachers more over time, they have a higher likelihood of staying in the profession. And then we looked at teacher retention programs. This is a simple graph. In the dark blue is a teacher, a novice teacher, first or second year teacher in that program compared to a non teacher retention program teacher. You can see that over 10% more of the teachers stay with the district. So having these retention programs the districts are giving the teachers allows them to retain more of their teachers. And a teacher that's been in the district long enough is a teacher that's going to be more worthwhile for the students. And this is our references list. And I'm just going to sum up for myself. There's a lot of effects with shortage of teachers and the profession right now, and the state of the profession overall is really positive for teachers going into the profession. There's a lot more options out there. However, with these options, there's a lot of negatives, and it's really hard for a teacher to navigate in this current process we're to be, because as we looked into it, there are a lot of assignments a teacher can get in his first few years that could burn him out really quickly. And when a teacher can get burned out that quickly, it, even though he might be a perfect teacher for the profession, he got a bad taste right away because he wasn't provided enough support. So overall, there are a lot of positive things coming out of this teacher shortage, but it will only take a few more years for it all to get ironed